YouTube fandom community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to start a brand new segment. As you saw in the video a couple days ago, this is called Spin It Again. And this is where I look back on an album that I reviewed at some point in the early days of doing this channel, and kind of reassessing it, because for a number of reasons, if I had set up the video weirdly, or the lighting was bad, or my pacing was weird, or the way I talked about the album didn't come across the way I wanted it to. There's a number of factors, and so basically it's kind of like doing it over or spinning it again. So today, as you saw by clicking on the video, is the Beach Boys' Light album, LA. And you might be noticing I'm in a different spot too, because if we're going to do this again, we're going to do it in a different location. So this is one of my other setups here. This will be a very brief video because I'm not going to spend... So here's the thing. I tried watching that video again that I made several years ago, and I'll put the link in the bottom below here, but I can't get into it. For me, there's a lot there. There's a lot of background story, which is important to how to get to where the album was made, but the actual review, it didn't really capture, I think, what I was trying to say at the time. And your tastes change, you're always evolving with what you like about music or what you don't like, so I kind of like there's a second opinion on here from me, from myself, of what I think about this album, because going back to it, and I'll be honest, it's been a minute since I've played the entire thing, and I had taken away from it this time a much more different appreciation for it, because I separated it from what was going on in the Beach Boys story and just took it for music, and just took it for as it is, as songs. Which might be why I get sort of involved in these videos and they become 15-minute epics, because I just have verbal diarrhea and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So, this one's going to be short and sweet to just get to the point about the songs themselves and how different I feel about them now compared to then, and maybe I'll do one several years from now and see if my taste changed yet again. So, good time. It opens up this album. And in my previous video, and here's the thing too, I don't remember all the things I said because I couldn't watch the whole thing. Looking at yourself, it's weird. I don't want to watch me. Who cares? I don't want to hear my own voice. Like, it's stupid. So, I remember bits and pieces about what I said about that album or didn't say about that album. So, this is going to be kind of a whole refresher course here. So, Good Timin' is the opening track on here, a song that dates back to the early 70s or mid-70s. And I really enjoyed this song. It's a smooth jam. It's got a really good, syrupy, sweet harmony thing going on in the background. There's the tip-tappy hi-hat on the cymbals is great. A little bit of bass here and there kind of fleshed it out. But really, it's just a warm, loving ode to quiet time, remembering the good times, and being with that special person. It's a very melodic, smooth jam that it should have been a bigger hit for them, really. There's some really good moments on this track, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. And I don't remember if I was kind to this song in the first video or not, but I really dig it now. There's something just sentimental about it that you can dive into, and I really enjoy that atmosphere that they create with this one. Lady Linda, I really enjoyed this one too. I mean, between the dreamy harps, the really melodic bass line, and the strong lead vocal from Al, one of his best lead vocals. It's a catchy song. There's that call and response stuff that the background vocals do, and the ending section is absolutely phenomenal. If you've got that live album they put out, Live at Nebworth, they like come back and redo that part again, because it is really good. The layering of vocals, the intensity, the nostalgic feel it creates. It's a very tender track, and putting all those layers together feels like putting all those memories together. So it creates this wonderful atmosphere of a relationship that's been through all the ups and downs and is still there, and it's still happy and working out. But yeah, just a really cool combination of heartwarming, endearing moments, and strong vocal performances from the guys. Full Sail. This one, for me, there's more to it than meets the ear. This is a much more deeper track. I don't remember if I was kind to this one or not in the other video, but Carl's lonely vocal against that prevailing rhythm section that is just kind of, pushing forward the whole way through. is a phenomenal listen, and the whole adventure on the high seas bit is really good. It adds some wisdom to this sort of forlorn atmosphere that Carl's vocals definitely provide. Um, the overall track just sort of has this like, you know, the protagonist of the story is worn out, overworked, tired, and trying to find some peace. It's a beautiful track. It really is. Um, Angel Come Home is the next track on here, which is just magic. It's just magic in a bottle. Carl wrote it, Denny sang it, but the shuffle drum is reminiscent of stuff from Love You, the way that there's sort of an off-kilter beat rhythm there. Um, but Denny puts his all into this thing. It's just a beautiful song, angelic, if you will, background vocals. Um, a melancholic, downtrodden plea for your girl to come back. Um, Beautiful song. Absolutely adore this one. Love Surrounds Me kind of continues that vein. This one's pure Denny. This was, actually a track that was going to be on one of his albums. It was going to be on Bamboo. It's a little funky, which I like. It's got a bit of a groove to it. The call and response background vocals are cool. The fat synth leads that pop up once in a while. And the journey it takes you on is great. There's that whispery bridge. And then the rawness of Denny's vocal on this thing. It blends really well with the little bits and pieces of ad-libbed musical arrangements that kind of pop up here and there. There's a guitar fill here, a little synthesizer thing here. So there's little blips and blops, if you will, technical term, that add dynamics and texture to this track, which make it a lot of fun to listen to. But it's a painfully gorgeous track. I love this song. Sumahama, I did see on my old video that I didn't even talk about this song. I just said it was Kokomo's grandpa or something, which is a bit hard. I'll admit, that was a bit hard. I don't know why I didn't want to talk about it, because it's really not a bad song. Like, going back to it now, I was actually kind of enjoying it. It's a bit long, but it's really not that bad. There's some really exquisite background harmonies that are just light as clouds on a sunny day. I mean, it is a light track, light album. The bouncy bass, the jangly guitars here sound like if the Byrds were doing disco, which I think is kind of cool. But the lush string arrangement is really impressive. And you just get this light, dreamy effect throughout the whole track. It's musically, I think it's really good. And it's Mike's only lead vocal on the album. But his vocal is really good. He's very articulate. He's very clear with his voice. It's just a nice song. It's really not that bad, and its placement on the album, I think, is good. After having several kind of heavier tracks, you get this lighter treatment. Side 2 starts off with Here Comes the Night, the disco remake. It's a bit long. I think if it was half the time, I think I'd actually enjoy it a lot more. As a song, not comparing it to the original, it's okay. I can kind of see why they chose this one, because the chorus does have a cool, what's the word I'm looking for? The balance, the timing, the phrasing, it has this sweeping motion to it. So that blends well with kind of the fast-paced, shuffly, hi-hat, People's Court rhythm going on the entire time. It's not bad. It's not my favorite. I do like how Carl's given it a really good vocal performance, and it's cool to hear his matured voice sing this song, because some of his growls are really good. So once again, Carl saves the track, but the background vocals are good. It's not my favorite on the album still, but I think if it was shorter, it'd be a lot more enjoyable. Then you get Baby Blue, which is just a gorgeous, haunting track. Carl's tender vocal, lightly layering on top of that piano, that is like sometimes tender, sometimes really sharp with its stabbing on the piano key, on the piano. There you go. And then Dennis's vocals are just endearing and sad. And Brian's falsettos in the background once in a while are just absolutely awesome. It might be Al, but it sounds like Brian. This is a track that really deserves your undivided attention. It's one of those things where you put it on and listen to it. You have to just sit there with it. You can't be on your phone. You can't be doing this or that. It's like, this song wants your attention. Going South, it kind of keeps that frame going where Carl's voice, it makes you feel like every word is something that he's lived. You get a tinge of optimism sprinkled throughout this thing, and that sax solo for a fleeting sense of adventure, but it's a quiet, reflective piece about someone looking for sunshine during a season of rain. It's just a beautiful song. It's just a reflective, moody number. And then the album ends with Shortening Bread, which is kind of a bizarre, perfectly random Beach Boys-esque moment where you get, you know, an album of kind of moody tracks and you end with this big, heavy, pounding drum, rock and roll riff extravaganza with Carl just nailing his vocal, and all these crazy layers that are very Love You reminiscent. It's just a really weird song to end the album with, but it's also kind of a cool way to end the album because the album is really dense. So having a lightweight kind of track end both sides really, I think it's kind of unique. But it's definitely, for me, a Carl and Dennis album. There's not too many moments of anybody else lead vocally. Al and Mike both get a lead vocal here and there for one song each. Brian doesn't do a lead, neither does Bruce, but it's really not a bad album. I don't remember what I scored it last time. I'm probably sure I scored it pretty low. Again, can't watch the whole video, don't like watching myself. So, on second listen, making a new video several years later, I'm going to give this thing like a 7 out of 10. It's really not bad. It's pretty darn good. You know, taking into account how many layers there are in this thing, and the performances, and the tenderness, and the detail, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. I think on surface level, people might see it as this kind of cheesy, weak album in their discography, and is it their best? Not at all. Is it their worst? Not at all. Is it something I play often? Not really, but listening to it again this time, I was way more impressed by it as a whole for some reason. That's all I can say. Your tastes will change. Your opinions will change. Music you didn't like 10 years ago, you might be into tomorrow. We're human. We change. It's what happens. So, as of right now, in 2020, as I'm making this review, I'm giving the Light album a 7 out of 10. It's really not bad. It's definitely worth a listen. There's some really great tracks on here. Between Baby Blue, Love Surrounds Me, Angel Come Home, Lady Linda, Good Timing. There's really some excellent stuff on here. It's definitely worth a second evaluation. So if it's been a while since you've heard it, dig into it, check it out. My name is Giggens. This has been Spinning Again with the Beach Boys LA Light album. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next Spin It Again soon. Bye-bye.